Hi everyone, welcome to my channel International Storyteller. In this channel you will find true horror stories worldwide. These stories are for entertainment purposes only. In this video, I will tell you the mysterious story behind the Overtoun Bridge. The Overtoun Bridge is located near a town called Dumbarton in Scotland. This bridge has a strange and frightening reputation because many dogs mysteriously jump off the bridge to their deaths. The number of dogs that have jumped from this bridge is around 300 or even more. Among these, 50 dogs have been reportedly killed after falling from the bridge into the ground below. Almost all this happened on clear and sunny days, which are relatively rare for the western side of Scotland. Because of this strange and unusual behavior of many dogs jumping off the bridge to their deaths, the Overtoun Bridge came to be known as the Dog Suicide Bridge. There is also a house or mansion near the Overtoun Bridge. This house, located near the Overtoun Bridge, sits on a hill and is sometimes known as Overtoun House. Today, this house is a Christian center for hope and healing, as well as a tea room for people walking on the road, passing through the bridge and the house. The surrounding area of the house is a popular place for afternoon walks and a perfect spot for a picnic. So, many people used to bring their dogs while walking over the bridge. But people walking across the bridge with their dog always put a leash on their dog to prevent their dog from jumping below the bridge by itself. Why on earth would many dogs jump off the Overtoun Bridge in Scotland? What is the reason behind many dogs forcing them to end their lives over the Overtoun Bridge? What exactly is the mysterious story behind the Overtoun Bridge? In order to know this, let us hear the story behind the Overtoun Bridge. In 1859, an industrialist named James White bought the land from a person named Gabriel Lang. During that time, this place was farmland, but James White demolished the old farmhouse and hired an architect to design a new Scottish baronial-style mansion. Later, this Scottish baronial-style mansion came to be known as Overtoun Mansion or Overtoun House. When James White died in 1884, the house and property were taken over by his son John Campbell White. Then John Campbell White expanded the property left by his father. He bought the neighboring land west of his lands. To make it more accessible to the Overtoun house and its neighboring properties, he decided to build a bridge. The bridge was designed by a famous civil engineer and landscape architect named Henry and Edward Milner in 1892. The total length of the bridge is 135 feet, or 41 meters, and the width is 14 feet, or 4 meters. The top height of the bridge from below the ground is roughly 50 feet, or 15 meters. The construction of the bridge was finally completed on June 15, 1895, and it took almost a year to build the bridge. Later, this bridge came to be known as the Overtoun Bridge. Then, in 1908, John Campbell White died, and his wife continued to live at Overtoun House until 1931. However, in 1938, the Overtoun House, including all the properties, was given to the people living near the town of Dumbarton, Scotland. For many years, local people living there saw no major incidents over the Overtoun Bridge. But all this changed in the 1950s, when many dogs were found dead after jumping off the bridge. Since the 1950s, many dog owners have seen a sudden change in their dog behavior, moments before their dogs jumped from the Overtoun Bridge. They said that their dog started behaving very strangely or panicking before jumping off the bridge. Sometimes the dog becomes confused or stares at a particular spot over the bridge. According to the dog owner, their dogs purposefully run and jump from the side of the bridge. Some even believed that their dog was possessed, which forced the dog to jump from the bridge. There are reports that the number of dogs jumping or falling off the Overtoun Bridge could be as high as 300, but others said it could be around 600 dogs. Many of the dogs do survive the jump from the bridge, but suffer terrible injuries such as broken legs or small wounds on their bodies. But it is confirmed that at least 50 dogs have been killed after jumping from the bridge, which is 50 feet or 15 meters above the ground. In one story, a dog allegedly jumped from the bridge and survived the fall. Then the dog ran up from the ground to the bridge above and then jumped off the bridge once again. How is this possible, and what is inspiring or forcing the dog to jump from the bridge again and again? Because of this, many experts came to the Overtoun Bridge and attempted to provide a reasonable explanations for the mysterious incident about a dog willingly jumping off the bridge. The Scottish Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals also came to the spot to investigate the strange incident, but they couldn't identify a specific cause for the dog jumping off the bridge. Many scientists from around the world also came to Scotland to investigate the strange incident happening at Overtoun Bridge and its deadly connection with dogs. They could not find a reasonable explanation, and they all continue to be confused to this day. But there is one practical theory that explains the mysterious incident behind dogs killing themselves at the Overtoun Bridge. Back in 2010, an animal behaviorist named David Sands traveled to Scotland to investigate the strange incident happening at the Overtoun Bridge. He suggested that the dogs were not purposely jumping off the bridge because animals do not kill themselves as humans do. While it may appear that dogs are committing suicide by themselves, but animals do not intentionally make decisions to end their lives. Their actions are based on instincts that came from surrounding the area. So, there must be some practical explanation for dogs jumping off the Overtoun Bridge. One theory suggests that most of the dogs involved in these suicide incidents tended to be long-nosed breeds of dogs. This long-nosed breed of dog can easily detect or smell the scent of other wild animals present below the bridge. They particularly detect the scent of wild animals, such as mink, which is a type of mammal that releases a strong rotten smell. When dogs detect the scent of the presence of minks, they jump up to the side edge of the bridge to investigate and look below the bridge. At that moment, they were unaware of the height of the bridge from the ground below, because the lower viewpoint of dogs made the height of the bridge look like normal flat ground, which actually is not. When the dogs proceed in the direction from where the scent of mink came, they jump off the bridge. The dog thinks it is just normal flat ground, and it is safe to jump, but instead they end up falling into the deep ground below. So, animal behaviorist David Sands believed that many dogs were jumping off the Overtoun Bridge because of their own misinformed animal instincts. But still, there is no proof that the dog jumping off the bridge was due to the presence of wild animals such as mink. If this is the reason for dogs jumping off the Overtoun Bridge, then minks are also found on different bridges around Scotland. So why has this mysterious incident happened only at Overtoun Bridge and not on other bridges? Another popular theory about the Overtoun Bridge is that the bridge itself is located in a spiritual place. A popular explanation for a number of dogs trying to jump off the Overtoun Bridge has something to do with supernatural elements. Many experts who believed in God and the devil said that the bridge itself is located in one of the thin places. Thin places are locations where the layer between the spiritual world and our physical human world is much thinner. At such places, the spiritual world and our human world almost become one, as if they merge together. This means that the Overtoun Bridge is located at a place where the spiritual world and our physical worlds meet. This could potentially allow spirits or devils from the other side of the spiritual world to come into our world much easier than they could elsewhere. This may affect the dogs passing over the bridge because dogs are extraordinary creatures compared to humans. Dogs may feel something being off or uncomfortable when crossing the bridge due to its location between the spiritual world and our human world. But many local people didn't believe it, and they still continue to blame the deaths of the dog on a ghost. This means that the local people really believed that the Overtoun Bridge is really haunted. Many local residents of the area are particularly superstitious and believe in ghosts. They all have seen the presence of something paranormal happening on Overtoun Bridge and felt the presence of spirits there. They believe that it is the ghost that is behind all of the dogs jumping off the Overtoun Bridge. Since dogs are extraordinary creatures, their senses far exceed those of a human being. According to animal behaviorists, dogs have a sixth sense, in addition to sight, smell, taste, touch, and hearing. This sixth sense is why dogs will sometimes bark at an empty spot in a room or react to something that humans can't hear or see. Dogs are also able to hear much higher pitched sounds, have a wider field of vision, and see better in the dark. This makes it easier for them to see or sense something that a human wouldn't necessarily notice. So, dogs can easily detect the presence of ghosts or spirits. Dogs are able to detect not only ghosts, but can also predict ominous events. It has been proven that dogs can alert people about the existence of hallucinations. Most psychiatric patients or people with mental illnesses experience hallucinations. So a dog can alert them to falling for danger. This is why people with post-traumatic stress disorder or other stress-related psychological problems benefit greatly from the companionship of a service dog. In the case of dogs willingly jumping from the Overtoun Bridge, there must be a practical reason. Sometimes animals may engage in self-destructive behavior, such as refusing to eat. Such behaviors are usually symptoms of medical problems like disease or parasites inside the animal's body. While some animals may suffer from mental illnesses such as depression and anxiety, and that they somewhat understand the concept of death, but there isn't any proof of a dog deliberately trying to commit suicide in an act of losing hope or fear. This means that dogs or any other animals do not have the concept of ending their lives as humans do, since most dogs' actions are based on instinct, and they cannot make or plan decisions to end their lives. In the case of Overtoun Bridge, it seems like the dogs were panicked for an unknown reason, and they did not jump from the bridge willingly. Is this unusual phenomenon happening on the Overtoun Bridge caused by some supernatural forces or the ghost that is haunting the Overtoun Bridge? If so, then who is the ghost that is haunting the Overtoun Bridge? In order to know this, let us continue hearing the story. Many local people believed that the ghost that is haunting the Overtoun Bridge was probably the spirit of a woman named Grace Eliza McClure. Local people called the spirit of Grace Eliza McClure as the White Lady of Overtown. She was the wife of John Campbell White, who was responsible for the construction of the Overtoun Bridge. She opened the bridge and had a strong personal connection to it. Her name is even carved into the stone at one end of the bridge. Since her husband John Campbell White's sudden death in 1908, Grace Eliza McClure has become very sad and had a miserable life for more than 30 years. After her death, there have been reported sightings of a white lady inside Overtoun House. The White Lady are those ghosts wearing a white dress and are often associated with local tragic stories, especially ones involving the loss of a lover. The White Lady has been sighted in the windows of Overtoun House and is sometimes walking around the grounds. Many believed that the White Lady that was haunting the Overtoun House and the surrounding area was the spirit of Grace Eliza McClure. Thus, the ghost of Grace Eliza McClure came to be known as the White Lady of Overtown. Local people said that they have seen the ghostly figure of the White Lady of Overtown taking the dogs over the side edges of the bridge. So, the ghost of Grace Eliza McClure or the White Lady of Overtown may have controlled the dog to jump off the bridge because dog will never intentionally kill themselves. Upon further investigation, many local people found that when dogs tried to jump from the Overtoun Bridge, they appeared to jump off from the right side of the bridge. So, why did most of the dogs try to jump from the right side of the bridge, and what could be the reason behind this? In order to know this, let us continue hearing the story. There is also a tragic past that adds up to the mysterious incident happening at Overtoun Bridge. In 1994, a terrible event occurred on Overtoun Bridge. In that year, a father named Kevin Moy believed that his newborn son was Antichrist. Actually, Kevin Moy was a paranoid psycho person who was suffering from depression and delusions. He thought that his newborn baby was the reincarnation of Satan or a demon. So on a sunny day in October, he went over the Overtoun Bridge and threw his own baby from the right side of the bridge to the ground below. The baby did not survive the fall and was killed instantly. After that, he attempted to jump off the bridge and try to kill himself, but his wife was able to stop him in time. Then, the man again tried to kill himself by cutting his own wrists with a knife before being taken into custody. Kevin Moy told police that he and his child would destroy the world by infecting humanity with a virus. He further said that by killing his own son and himself, he would be saving the world. After hearing the story, a jury found Kevin Moy not guilty by reason of a mental disorder. But he was ordered to be detained in the state hospital, which is a psychiatric hospital in the village of Carstairs, Scotland. Local people said that after that tragic incident, dogs started sensing the spirits of the baby on the bridge. After that, the dog changed its behavior, leading them to jump from the bridge. In almost every case, dogs tend to jump from the same spot or the right side of the bridge where the baby was thrown from the bridge by his father. There are many real incidents about dogs jumping off the Overtoun bridge. A girl named Alice Trevorrow shares a story of her own dog, who actually survived from falling over the Overtoun bridge. In 2014, Alice Trevorrow was going to the bridge with her dog for a walk. Her dog is well-trained and obedient one, so she didn't put the leash on her dog. After Alice Trevorrow reached near the Overtoun bridge, she tried to get out of the car, but her dog quickly jumped out of the car and immediately ran toward the bridge. Usually the dog loves to play with the ball and will wait for her to play. So the dog quickly jumping out of the car and running toward the bridge seems very unexpected. As her dog approached the bridge, something overcame the dog. At first, her dog froze and stared at something above the bridge. Then the dog began acting very strangely. It seems like the dog is possessed by negative energy. Alice Trevorrow walked toward the dog to check what was going on, but as she approached the bridge, the dog jumped right off the bridge in front of her. She looked down and saw the dog lying on the ground. Luckily, the dog survived with some minor injuries, but she claimed that an unseen force made the dog jump off the bridge. She said that this strange incident was really out of the character of her dog. So, Alice Trevorrow definitely believed that there was something sinister going on over the Overtoun bridge. The same year, another dog owner named Kenneth Michael was walking on the bridge with his dog. As he walked across the bridge, suddenly his dog started pulling the leash very hard toward the right side of the bridge. Then the dog tried to jump off the bridge for no reason. But Kenneth Michael was able to stop his dog from jumping off the bridge in time. When Kenneth Michael looked at the right side below the bridge, there was nothing unusual, and everything seemed to be calm and normal. Kenneth Michael admitted that some unseen force seems to be pulling his dog towards the right side of the bridge. But unfortunately, after a few days, the dog was missing from his house. Later, when Kenneth Michael searched for his missing dog, he found the dog laying dead below the Overtoun bridge.